Hello everyone, welcome to Club Deck Corner here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. This week, Dundee, Cifuentes, Clancy, Kelly Pies and a trip to Spain. I am Scott Carney and joining me tonight is Jamie Mackay. Jambo, how are you, mate?
Scotty boy, good to be back. Good to be back. I think it's been a couple of weeks. I think Aberdeen reaction was the last time I was on. So a lot's happened in the last couple of weeks, and certainly a lot has happened over the weekend as well. So what's our talking points for tonight?
Yes, always, mate. In the world of Rangers, there's always plenty to talk about, isn't there? There's always something that will crop up, even if you're thinking you're having a quiet week. It's something that tends to rear its head, mate. So no, there is plenty to get
100%.
into tonight. Ryan and Alistair are still very much sailing their way around. I don't know how many European cities they've been at now. But they are due to be back. Hopefully Friday, fingers crossed. And as you'll have seen from my probably not very careful tweets and social media posts that I put out. Twits, I only called it twits would be a better word for tweets.
I like the sound of that, Scott. I think you should change it. I like
twits. Twits, you might as well. If Elon Musk can change Twitter, then I can change Twitter. There is a big announcement coming very, very soon. I'm not announcing it tonight, but it will be coming very, very soon. And I would advise you all to tune in on Friday for the live pod if there's enough of us to do a live pod on Friday. Because there's an announcement coming and I'm very, very excited about it. Anyway, before we get into that, shameless plug as always. If you could like the video, subscribe to the channel, that would be magic. You can help this podcast reach the next level by joining the channel for as little as 99p a month, and you can also buy the podcast a coffee via buymeacoffee.com and become a Coffee by Legend membership. All the links are in the description for this podcast. Just quickly while I remember, Stuart, the boy that we usually have a couple of beers with in the Viceroy before a game, finally, very kindly donated some beer tokens to the podcast. So thanks very much, mate. Very much appreciated. Always good to have a chat with you. And it was good to see you again on Saturday. So, Jambo, we will start with the very eventful 3-1 win over Dundee on Saturday. So the starting 11 raised a couple of eyebrows, I think. Maybe the biggest talking point was Connor Goldson being rested and McCausland not starting. What was your thoughts when you initially seen the team?
Well, when I seen Goldson wasn't playing, I was thinking he's injured, which obviously was a bit of a worry. But he's clearly
because everybody at Rangers is injured.
aye, and then it soon turns into 7 to 10 days. Jordan Rossiter, doesn't it? So and then on the McCausland front, I was hoping to see him in the starting lineup again because I think he's been brilliant since he came in. So. Yeah, no. I think obviously you were going to get onto the talking points and the actual game itself, but yeah, I was initially worried, but I think Goldson's been a bit of a colossus in the European game, so definitely it's good to get him rested up for Thursday.
Yeah, I think it's as important. Connor Goldson isn't getting any younger, and we do have to use rotation, and that was just the biggest one that I'd raised my eyebrow at. I thought, God, no Goldson, and you do have the fear of, I hope he's not carrying something, because the last thing we need is Connor Goldson to be out, and obviously the manager just confirmed it's just basically due to how many games we have. I say we're not even at Christmas yet, and we still have about 45 games to play before then, and it's only 12 days away or 13 days away now from Christmas, so it made sense to rest Connor Goldson when you can. I think into the game itself, mate, I think the response from going to go down was good from Rangers. I thought Rangers reacted very well to it. It was a terrible goal to concede, but I thought the reaction was great. I thought it was a great goal by Dessers initially. I think he was unlucky with his first attempt, continues to go at it, mate, and rifles the shot into the top corner. We'll stick with Dessers just now, mate, before we come on to the other talking points. I thought he was very good in the first half, and I know there's not a high bar for me to base Dessers on, but for a Rangers forward and for the kind of form that he's been in, very good's maybe a bit of a stretch, but I thought he much more impact against Dundee, and I thought he made his presence known very well, and that goal's a peach. It's a cracking finish.
Well, so I don't think I've ever wanted a Rangers player to do better than Cyril Dessers. I actually I'm willing him to do well in a Rangers shot. So no, the goal really well taken. I initially thought, so obviously I'm behind the goal at BF3. I initially thought it took a bit of a sort of wicked deflection, but having seen it on Sportscene on Saturday night, it was a great finish. He properly drilled it, and also as well, he was fairly unlucky for the first attempt to be blocked too. So I think all in all for Dessers, I think his performance on Saturday was pretty solid, and it's good to see him getting a few goals as well. It can only work wonders for his confidence.
Absolutely. I think he tailed off a wee bit in the second half. Don't get me
Aye,
wrong. I didn't think he had that much of an impact in the second half. But again, we were down to 10 men. Again, something else we will come on to, obviously. So again, how much you really expecting from him? But the impact he had in the first half, I thought he occupied the defence very well, and it's kind of more of what I want to be seeing from him. I'm the
aye,
same. I want every player that I have a negative stance on to have an impact and to prove me wrong. I want to be wrong about
aye,
these players, and
aye.
it'll do him the world of good to have got that goal.
Yeah, 100%. Also, as well, I think see the whole pressing and packs thing. He was leading that very well from the front three, and I thought that was pretty impressive. So, also, I think his fitness levels looked a lot better on Saturday. So I don't know. I think it feels like he could be a confidence player. And yeah, as I say, I'm willing him to just bag a few more now and just kick on.
Yeah, either that or he's looking about him going, it's only me here. I better actually do something because there's no
well,
strikers that are fit.
well, there
Do you
is
know what I mean?
there is literally no fit strikers. Do you know what I mean? So
No,
who are you gonna go to there? Do you know what like? So aye, it's like
not
you just got
well.
to cope. You
Obviously,
just got to cope with.
not Kamar Roof because he can only run the length of himself for about 10 seconds, and then that's pretty much it. There's not much really there with
Aye, aye.
Kamar Roof. There's obviously
Well,
great problems there.
he pretty much gets injured, take his trachea off to come off the bench to come on. Do you know what I mean? So
I think the best comment I heard about that was somebody referring to players getting injured was at the AGM, I think it was, where he said players look at the grass and get injured, and I was like, that's pretty accurate, to be honest. I was like, you can't
it's.
really disagree with that.
I mean, there was a lot of pretty nonsensical stuff coming out of the AGM. That sounds like the most sensible thing.
There was some amount of nonsense, mate. There really was.
Aye, aye,
We move on, and Rangers. I think we just kicked on really from there, from getting the equalising goal, and then the most penalties of penalties to Rangers, with the defender going down to
aye.
one knee to try and keep Sima onto the ground, and we're still rewarded for getting the most penalty of penalties by a 5-day inquest, mate, by every fucking mainstream media that you like, trying to explain that it isn't
Madness.
a penalty. I don't understand why we have to go through this. Rangers get penalties, okay, right? We do, but we're in the opponent's box quite a lot. And at the end of the day, see if they don't want to give penalties away. How about not going down to one knee, pulling a guy's jersey, trying to keep him
I
on the
know.
ground?
I
I
know.
think it's more. Everybody should be saying, "What about the Dundee defender? Not why is it another
Aye,
penalty to Rangers? Because it's just a
aye.
penalty. It really is."
Well, we chatted about it after the Aberdeen game, and he's obviously gave the referee a decision to make by pulling his jersey. Like these managers should be saying to the players, like, just keep your hands down because like
Mm-hmm.
VAR is gonna track absolutely everything you do in that box, and it's gonna come back. The ref's gonna see it, and it's gonna be a pen. By the laws of the game now, it's a penalty. So, like, and as you say, actually, Alan McCoy said that in Talksport this morning. They were talking about it on Talksport.
I know.
Him and Jeff Stelling, like. It's not national news. Come on, like
No, that just isn't. But because it's Rangers and because we get a penalty, it is. Do you know what I mean? And it
yeah,
just is. And you've got
exactly.
to sit and suffer all this nonsense. At the end of the day,
I
mate, it's
know.
obstruction. He pulls his jersey. He stops
Aye,
him being able to make contact with that ball. It is a penalty. It is as
aye,
simple as clear as you like. I get what you're
aye.
saying that VAR's going to be looking at these things and to extent. Yes, they are. But I've got more issues with VAR that we'll come on to. But the third goal, mate. Was a kind of bullet header from the absolutely in form Abdallah Sima right now, and we scored a header from a corner. I honestly couldn't believe my eyes, mate. I thought I
No,
genuinely cannot remember the last time we'd done that. But Sima right now, mate, he's on fire.
yeah, I was in absolute dreamland. I think like because we scored a corner. Because you're used to seeing Tab hit the first man every time, so he actually delivers a decent ball, and it's a total bullet header from Sima. Um, we've actually been chatting in the WhatsApp we have about Sima being a number 9 and being good through the middle, and a lot of the boys were saying a lot of his goals have came from wide positions, but I think 2 or 3 of them have came from set plays and headers, and there was obviously the header when we played away in Aris. So I think as well, obviously, we were just discussing the fact that Dezer's the only fit striker, but if Dezer somehow gets injured or we can't be bored with him anymore, then I think Sima can get slotted in there. And I think he's looking the best buy from the summer. Obviously, we didn't buy him; he's on loan, but I think there's whispers maybe of possibly getting a deal done, which would be brilliant.
I think Yeah, you're correct. I think he is the only other option we would have to go through the middle right now if Dessers, for whatever reason, was to fall off the edge of a cliff or was to get injured, or which he probably will because he's a Rangers player, so he'd probably get injured. But I think the chat about Sima getting signed, I think that just shows the way that he's improved, because there was at points where I wasn't too sure on him. But right now, his effort and everything about him. I actually gave Lundstrom man of the match on Saturday, and I'm going to go back on myself and give it to Sima, because after watching the game back, I thought he was tremendous. The effort that Sima put in was unreal. Kind of all summed up by I think it was in the 89th minute, he's absolutely charging back, flying into tackles to stop the ball, getting into the box, and I thought he's leaving everything out there. I think he likes the club. I think he likes to be here. I think he obviously likes scoring goals for the club. I'm just not sure if he continues this form that we'll be able to afford them.
No. I mean, we talked about it on one of the pods before, and I think like he seems in a similar mold to Ryan Kent his first season, when we obviously went and broke the bank, didn't we, and paid quite a hefty fee for Kent. But he's getting into that point of finding form now, where you're thinking, if we can find the money from somewhere, I think it would absolutely be a no-brainer. And I'm glad you changed your Lundstrom man of the match, by the way, because it was his header backwards that lost us the first goal.
Yes, it was, but I do think from after that, I thought he was tremendous. I really did, and
No, he was.
Especially when we went down to 10 men, I thought he was really good at just breaking up play, just being in the right place at the right time, being the out ball for when there was pressure on the defence. And I thought I thought he was much improved. But yeah, I know it was him that caused the first goal. But yeah, no, as I say, it was a cracking response. And then obviously the game's kind of changed on the red card. Now, just before we come on to record, mate, it was confirmed that the appeal for Cifuentes, that's a weird one to say, Cifuentes' red card has been dismissed, and he will be out for the League Cup final, which is a head scratcher in itself about who plays in that position, but that's probably for a later pod. Your thoughts on the incident, mate? I'll quickly give mine. I can see why this is given. I can understand why this is given. I don't think there's any malice in it. I don't think he's trying to deliberately leave the leg in. He's not read that the Dundee player's going to come flying into the tackle, and I think it's slightly harsh, but probably in the letter of the law, it's probably a red. So I am not entirely shocked that it's not been overturned, because I don't think there was enough evidence for it to be overturned, if that makes sense.
Aye. Well, I missed it at the game because I nipped to the toilet. But some of the boys were saying that it's a yellow, and obviously they watched it back on Twitter and things like that, and it looked like yellow. So seeing it back on Saturday night, I thought like there was a bit of force. He'd put his studs in. It was a late challenge. The Dundee boy just nicked the ball away, and that's obviously, and when these things are slowed down in VAR, I think they look worse than they are. But again, it's by the letter of the law thing. It's a red card. So obviously Rangers are going to chance their arm and see if they can get it appealed, because we're majorly light in that midfield area, especially for Sunday. So yeah, I don't think even the top folk at Rangers would have been thinking they were going to be successful in that appeal. So I just got to move on with what we got pretty much for Sunday.
I think it was 50-50 at best that they'd be whether it would go overturned or not. I really do. And I think when it's that kind of decision, the authorities will tend to go with what the referee says in order to try and justify a decision on the field at the time or when it was made by VAR. So I'm not overly shocked by it. It's one of those ones that you might get away with, one of those ones that you maybe don't. And unfortunately, he's now going to be out for the cup final, which is unfortunate, but I say we'll talk about that probably another time. Second half, mate, it was pretty much all about survival mode. Obviously, Rangers going down to 10 men, it kind of changed what we were going to have to do. We brought on Sterling into the midfield. McCausland also come on for Cantwell to go kind of 4-4-1. But it was more surviving the Kevin Clancy show, and it'll probably be everybody's favourite part that we're going to speak about tonight. Now, the red card's the red card, okay, I'll kind of take that away from that, but from what we've seen from Kevin Clancy, especially in that second half, even though there was a moment in the first that I will bring up, he denied a clear-cut goal for Cantwell in that first half for no reason at all. He said there was a foul on the Dundee player. He blew his whistle to pull play back to that instant after Cantwell scored a pretty good goal. I thought VAR was there to eliminate these things, because he stopped the play before the ball was actually in the back of the net. Cantwell took his goal really, really well, but in my opinion, he should have let that play continue, because if they would have looked at that back, they would have seen that Cantwell, that the foul was not a foul even, and Cantwell's goal should have stood.
Yeah.
Am I correct in my understanding of VAR? Do you know about VAR better than me?
No, I think my VAR levels are pretty much the same as you, but I mean, I've watched that back like a good number of times now, and I can't see any infringement whatsoever in the lead up to it, and it's a great finish by Cantwell too. But I just thought, like, Clancy, like, see from the off, he's going to be card happy, and he's going to try and break the game up and make it about him, and that's exactly what he did on Saturday. But yeah, no, it was pretty unfair, and I think Cantwell could have actually been doing with getting a goal. To be completely honest with you, so my VAR knowledge is not the best, but surely they should have been looking at that.
Absolutely, yeah, I've absolutely got zero doubt, mate, that they should have been looking at that. It's just not a foul. It isn't. But again, because he blows before the end, he's not actually denied a goal. So again, it's one of these ones that Clancy just makes up. But the second half, mate, the one moment in particular, the two moments in particular that really stand out for me is the shot pull on Dessers, or the kind of manhandled that Dessers had to go through by the Dundee defender, was not a booking, even though it's an absolute blatant booking. And then literally 30 seconds later, maybe, Borna Barisic does pretty much the same thing. Realises his man's getting away from him, decides to pull him back, take the tactical booking so there's no break, and he's booked. And I have no complaints about Barisic being booked, because it is a booking. The reason that Ibrox gets upset at it, and the reason Rangers fans get upset at it, is because, in my personal opinion, Clancy is biased, and he is trying to make that game into something that it didn't need to be, because Rangers were very comfortable in the game, and we were under no real threat. So Clancy decided to try and make that something that it wasn't. Ultimately, he's not a very good referee, and his decision making is awful. But the major thing in all of it is he's got a complete incapability of controlling a football game, and he just lets it run and run and run, and then before he knows it, it's too late, and there's tackles that are happening that we should all know is a booking, but it's easier to book a Rangers player than it is to book a Dundee player. And that's my thoughts on it anyway. Dessers one is a booking, Barisic's one is a booking, and he only books Barisic. That's my issue.
It's just clear double standards, isn't it? Like the Dessers one is ridiculous, because you look at the Dundee boy and he's almost looking at the ref to say, "I've fouled him." You know what I mean?
You should be booking me here. You should be booking me here. Yeah.
Yeah, and then as you say, that happens a couple of minutes later, and the crowd weren't happy at Clancy. You could sense it from the off pretty much. But yeah, as I said before, he's going to try and make it about himself, and then even daft things like him booking Clement, there's absolutely no need to do that. It's like let's make this a Kevin Clancy show. It's just it's ridiculous. So no, we all want a referee. We hate talking about referees, and we hate, do you know what I mean, and getting into the nitty gritty details of it. But as you say, we want a referee that refs the game properly, but also lets it flow. But there's obviously no bias towards any team whatsoever. So yeah, it was a shocking performance from on Saturday.
Absolutely terrible, and I'm not surprised. I mean, we've seen it numerous times under Clancy that it's not really a massive shock that he's a pathetic, really, referee, and it just brings us into makes us look silly, makes Scottish football look daft. It really does, and it's one of those things that will run on and on and on. But yeah, I did appreciate Clement trying to bite off Clancy's hand as he was trying to book him. Clement was like, "I don't think so," and he was giving him it stinking, which is what he should be doing. It's what we should be doing more of, because the standards of this are unacceptable. And even my dad at the game, I sat with my dad at the game. He's like, there should be something in place here where we can sit down, play a couple of, I don't know, appeal cards a couple of times a season, and play that, and tell the referee to sit down with officials and with representatives from Rangers and go, explain your decision there. And I thought, that's probably not a too bad an idea. And again, this doesn't sour grapes, because we won that game very comfortably. This is more about just Kevin Clancy as a referee. It boggles my mind that people can say there's a conspiracy, mate. It really does.
I know. Like, I mean, I think your dad's got a good point. If there was a bit of an open dialogue between the refs and the players and the managers and even the clubs themselves, but That's never going to happen.
No.
They're never going to face up to it in that way, because then what happens is there's way too much scrutiny on them, and they don't like it. But as you said, it's a comfortable win for us in the end.
Arguably, I think we should have scored more. I think Sima should have done better with a chance. I thought Sterling's effort was so unlucky,
Sterling
man.
off the post.
Oh, what a strike, man. Honestly, what a strike. I thought he was unlucky, but yeah, ultimately it was a very comfortable win for us, and it was more just seeing the game out in the second half. Which leads me on to a question. Jamie, do you like curry pies?
I had one for my dinner on Sunday night. I've had one for my dinner every night since Sunday.
I've had 15 curry pies since. Obviously, mate, the fact that we have managed to see that out with 10 men, we got through the second half. We were resulted with a bit of an early Christmas present, Christmas present on the Sunday, with not only Celtic dropping points, but failing to get any points at all with their trip to Rugby Park. This is a welcomed bonus, an absolute welcomed bonus. I did not expect it. I was standing in the queue to see Santa Claus, mate, when I found out the final result. Not me personally, obviously, with my son.
Christmas came early for you then, aye.
Yeah, I better clear that up. I was standing with my son to go see Santa Claus when I found out the result. And yeah, this is now one that we can't. Obviously, it cuts the gap down to 5 now. We've got a game in hand that can cut it to 2.
Aye.
We don't have a chance to do it straight away, and by that I mean it's not happening like one day apart. And I'm hoping, mate, that the fact that we've got 2 other games that are not in league business before we get to our game in hand, that it somewhat changes the mentality of the squad. And this time round, mate, that it isn't it's not a false dawn, and we actually start to put a bit of pressure on them.
Aye. Well, I mean, the last time that they dropped points and we obviously went to Pedodry and we could have closed the gap, it didn't happen. So you don't really know how these players are going to react. And the game in hand against St Johnstone, I think, is that 20th?
20th, mate, yeah.
That's next Wednesday, isn't it, or something like that? So I think you make a good point there. Off the back of Sunday, and if we have a great game and we win that cup, and obviously it's not a shoe-in. Aberdeen are going to be, but they're going to be bang up for it. But a mentality shift could happen big time with those players if they deliver the first piece of silverware and then go on to close that gap on Wednesday. And then obviously it's a trip to Fir Park, and then Ross County at home, and then the 30th. So look, you could be going into that game in really good form and only a few points behind, but the players they need to knuckle down and actually they actually need to make those drop points count for once. And now we'll know how strong the mentality is, and obviously it's been questioned before, so we're going to need to wait and see.
That's the bit that's you're spot on there, mate. It's not we've seen with this team. We've said with this team, we'll know how much that they're up for this, how much they think that they can go on and win this league, but how do they react to stuff that happens when opportunities are presented themselves, and some element of pressure is added to us in order to take that opportunity. And they failed so far. They're continuing to get opportunities here, and we're going to have to take this one. This one for me is there's like no excuse for not taking this one. This one has to happen. I expect nothing but 3 points against St Johnstone to cut that gap down to 2. And all of a sudden we're in a title race after the season that we've been through, to be sitting 2 points behind, potentially going into the Old Firm, or obviously with a couple of games in between, but that you would like to hope that the gap wouldn't get any bigger. But going into the Old Firm, then you couldn't really ask for any more at this time of the season, considering what we've been through. And I think that's the kind of overriding feeling of it is maybe I'm a wee bit going, see if we'd only have done that last time and not drop points when they give us opportunity, it would be much tighter now. But no, this one there's just no excuses for me. And I know we're going through a hell of a time with injuries. I do understand that, but as you say, mate, if we manage to get a result on Sunday, we managed to win the cup on Sunday, then I would expect the team to kind of ride that into the winter break at the very least, and it could make things very, very interesting indeed, mate. Very interesting 100%. Indeed. So before we go any further, and because we weren't on Friday, I have to do the Manscaped promo, everybody's favourite part of the show. So it's time for a word from our sponsors. The season for a fresh cut is finally here with the sponsors of this podcast, Manscaped. The leaders in below the waist grooming have just launched their 5th generation lawnmower to help you avoid another silent night in your bedroom this year. Take care of your South Pole with Manscaped and watch it shine like never before. Get the best stocking filler of all by going to manscaped.com using the code CLUBAT22 for 20% off and free shipping. Mrs. Claus will thank you. Starting with the Lawnmower 5.0, this is the crown jewel of the holidays, and I dare I say it's the best ball trimmer of all time. The electric razor's advanced skin-safe technology is a lifesaver and known for reducing nicks and cuts on your Santa sack. But the fun doesn't stop there. The Manscaped Beard Hedger Pro Kit and Handyman Electric Face Shaver are a must-buy Christmas gift for all his facial hair needs. Also save the day with the Weed Whacker 2.0 nose and ear hair trimmer. Easy for me to say. Also take care of the chestnuts with Manscaped's Boxers 2.0, featuring their signature jewel pouch to keep you calm, cool, and collected. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code CLUBAT22 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping when you go to manscaped.com and use our code CLUBAT22. Say ho, ho, ho to well-groomed mistletoe with Manscaped. Thank you very much to Manscaped for their continued support, and if you use our code, you're supporting our podcast, so I can't thank you enough. And Jamie, you'll be manscaping yourself very, very soon, mate. Don't you worry about that.
You've also been practicing that ho ho ho, haven't you? You've nailed
okay.
it.
Well, the wee man started to do it now, so like he walks about going ho ho ho. So I just copy him. Basically, could you go, what does Santa say? And he goes ho ho ho. So yeah, it's getting said quite a lot. It's getting said quite a lot just now. But no, generally, thank you to Manscaped. Their stuff is absolutely class, and it's perfect for Christmas stuff. Honestly, some really good prices, and I say if you use our code, you'll be supporting our podcast. So thank you very much for that. So Jamie, before we get out of here, we'll look ahead to Thursday night. Mm-hmm. We'll take on Betis in the last game of the Europa League as we travel to Spain. After the group we've had, mate, we actually could win. We could win this group. We could finish top of the group with a win, which is crazy considering we should already be out of sight, and this really not out of sight, but we should very much be qualified after the missed opportunities, or the very much the last missed opportunity against Aris Limassol. But we are guaranteed Conference League, I think, pretty much no matter what happens. I think if we get beat, is that right? If we get beaten, even if Sparta win, we'll still be in the conference. I think it is. We're definitely guaranteed.
Yeah. I think even if we get beat, because obviously, Sparta are playing Aris, you expect them to beat them, and then if we get beat, we'll get into third place, and it's into the conference for us. You're hoping that's not the case. So
yeah, of course, mate, and I think that's a kind of another conversation on its own. I think is obviously Clement's mentioned it a couple of times that it's still a European competition. I don't know if he's trying to soften the blow, but either way to look at it, I don't think the failure could be put onto him, mate, if we don't manage to get out of this group. But if we don't get out of this group, then I kind of point finger blaming at the board at this one and going, that's a regression. We've not went forward, we've actually went backwards. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. I think putting this starting 11 in this squad against, say, the teams that we had under Gerrard in the Europa League, it's not looking as strong, and it's certainly not looking as strong as the year we got to the final. So I'm with you. Like you really need to think about recruitment. The two games against Aris have absolutely nailed us. The away game, obviously, we were in a bit of a transition from Beale to Clement, so you still weren't expecting that result, but you kind of knew it could happen. The disappointing result was the home game, because you've got a whole second half to go and win that game, and then it's so much more comfortable to go through to the latter stages of the Europa. So we're going to have to do it the hard way, but it's a Rangers way to do things, isn't it? So
we don't ever not do things the hard way, mate. That's kind of, we've been brought up doing things the hard way. In terms of the game itself, mate, obviously, look, Betis they're a good team. I wouldn't say they're a fantastic team, but they are very much a good team. And I think more so than anything is a Spanish team, mate. They know how to keep the football. They know how to play possession. That's kind of what their whole game is based on. Pretty much every Spanish team's pretty much all based on possession. And I think that'll be critical for Rangers to have any sort of successes. We need to be clever with the ball when we have it and just eliminate any unforced errors as much as you possibly can. Don't be sloppy on the ball. Make your passes, make your runs, and stay as fully concentrated as you can for the entire match. And I think that's probably we'll need to take our chances when they come.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. When we come in, I think think they're going to have plenty of the ball. And I know we're going to get on to the starting lineups and what we both think they're going to be, but if it's going to be Cifuentes and Lundstrom in the middle of the pitch, they really need to get a hold of the ball and spray passes about. And actually, I think at times they've been pretty good together. But as you say, they need to really cut out the unforced errors, because a team like Betis will just completely capitalise on that. I mean, they got a good draw against Madrid at the weekend, and we all know what Madrid are like. So I think they'll be full of confidence getting it Thursday.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I think they'll be feeling pretty good about themselves, especially obviously them being at home and us coming away. And yeah, it's really all for. I wouldn't say there's a massive kind of pressure on them. I think they'll be considered favourites. I don't think there's a huge pressure on the team, because we kind of know what's happened as well, and the injury list kind of speaks for itself. However, to me, I don't think there's really any denying that if we don't take this opportunity, if we don't make it through the group stage, then I just see it as a bit of a failure, and a bit of a regression, and I'll be pretty disappointed if we don't get through, considering how the group stage panned out. In terms of the Conference League, mate, even if we were to get into the conference, they're still good. I mean, Villa are in there. Do you know what I mean? Villa, and they're doing pretty good in the English Premier League right now.
They're doing not bad. They're doing not bad.
It's my dad's second team, due to my uncle. My uncle's from Birmingham, so my dad's my dad's brother-in-law's Brummy, and he's an Aston Villa fan, so him and my dad have kind of swapped teams in that regard. He's very much a Blue Nose as well, but my dad kind of took Villa under his wing. But it's a decent. I mean, it's still a decent competition. Does it interest you? In all honesty, does it interest you going into the Conference League? Will you still be as up for it, do you think, or does that all depend on who we get and how the run goes?
So I think the stature of the competition will basically tell you how raucous Ibrox is going to be on a Thursday night. I mean, I think obviously we're still up, we'll be in it, and we're gonna obviously go for it. You only need to look at West Ham and how they did in it last season. Rangers are about winning trophies and getting as far as they can in any competition they're in. So now that if we're going to be in it, then we need to 100% go for it. And as you say, there's still going to be some decent teams in there. So we'll have all right nights under the lights at Ibrox on Thursdays.
Yeah, I know. I'm only asking that question because if it does happen, I'm not being defeatist. I think I fancy Rangers to hopefully do the business on Thursday, like I always do. I always fancy Rangers to get a result, and I think I think the Conference League is its nose is kind of turned up upon. So I was curious on your thoughts on it, but I very much want to stay in the Europa League, and I even watched that wee bit. I think TNT Sports done it. I don't know. I should come up on my Twitter. It was behind the seat or Rangers behind. What was it called? Behind the number ones or something like that.
I know. I watched it. I watched it, and they were talking about all the European competitions that we've been in over the years, all the games we've played, and all the keepers we've had. So that kind of got me too, because it played a lot of the Europa League run that we were on a couple of seasons ago, and then it also got me thinking about the final in Seville, and it put me into sheer depression afterwards. So
I've never revisited that game, mate. I say Alan McGregor said that on that as well, but I've never watched the first one back either, the Zenit one. I've never watched that game. No, never.
No. I think I managed that 5 or 6 years actually after it. No. So I maybe in a few years' time. I've watched the Rebo's goal back, but I can't bring myself to watch it back.
Not interested. Not interested in that. Anyway,
what's done is done.
Exactly, and we move on, mate, and we move on. Exactly that. But yeah, so as I say, I'm still hopeful Rangers will get a result, and I think it would be good for us to stay in the Europa League, because I think it's important for the team. Obviously, we do have that guarantee of falling into the conference should things not go away, but I'm not thinking about that. I do think Rangers have a chance if things go our way and we take our chances. Then I believe that we'll be just fine. Before we go into the teams and schools, mate, what's a priority tomorrow night or Sunday? What does your heart say? Not tomorrow night. Thursday night and Sunday.
Thursday night. Personally, for me, it's Sunday. It's like I think domestic games and the cups are our bread and butter. I've said this for seasons. That trophy's also escaped us for years now. We need to win it. Also, as I spoke about earlier, see the repercussions that can have on the rest of the season by winning that. I think it's massive. I want to win on Thursday, obviously, but for me, Sunday's the big one. Sunday's the
Yeah.
big one.
I'm exactly the same, mate. I honestly am. I think every Rangers fan will be. I still expect us to win, obviously, on Thursday night. But if you had a choice, not that football works like that, but if I had a choice, I would have to pick one. I would be definitely picking Sunday. I would
Aye,
be
so would I.
absolutely no doubt about it that I'd be picking that. But it doesn't work like that. I think I would get over Thursday quite quickly. Not quite quickly, but I don't think it would dwell on me too long. Whereas Sunday would dwell on me for the rest of the season, I think.
Well, I think the classic example is getting beat in Seville, and then we had the Scottish Cup final on the Saturday. It just like
You
you
can be
just do you know what I
bothered.
mean. Aye, you couldn't be bored, but when we won it, it made you feel a wee bit better.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it could be something like that. Aye, no, I would swap Thursday for Sunday or every single day of the week.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Yeah, it's been far too long since I've seen
Aye,
that particular shiny thing waved at me, mate. So yeah.
aye, aye.
So on that, mate, we'll go on to teams and scores. What is your team for Thursday night? What do you think the team will be?
So I'm going for obviously Butland in goal, Tav right
Yeah.
back, Goldson and Suter centre
Mm.
back, Borna or Sterling at left back because I thought Sterling was actually really good at Tynecastle when he came on. Not even just defensively, but actually going forward as well.
Offensively as well, yeah, I
I
agree.
thought I thought he was really good. Cifuentes and Lundstrom sitting, then Cantwell in the 10 role, Matondo on the right, Sima on the left, and then obviously Desers in the number 9 up top.
The only change that I would have to that, I think Sterling's a cracking shout at left back. By the way, that's a really good shout
Aye.
because he was very impressive when he came on, and
Mm-hmm.
he's a big, powerful guy, and he's not feared to
Aye.
get to the byline. Barisic doesn't really do that. He kind of gets the ball from deep and across the ball. Maybe his
Aye.
crosses are going to be more important. I don't know. I've not watched that much of Betis to make that full assessment on them, but
Mm-hmm.
I would say he'll probably start Barisic. But I do like the idea of Sterling. I'm not going to lie.
Aye.
Everything else, I would say I'm the same, apart from I would play McCausland over Matondo,
Aye.
because I don't think Matondo was great. I've
No,
I don't think I've seen a guy as fast as him at Rangers for a long time. He is very quick. I mean,
he's lightning.
in a short space of like pitch, he's going at full pelt, and he's very very quick. But
Aye.
his lack of quality, really, and his lack
Yeah.
of variety of what way he's going to go and what
Yeah.
he's going to do. But I think McCausland's got a lot more in his box than what Matondo does.
I think McCausland cuts inside better, and I think
Mm.
I think McCausland makes better use of the ball. The only thing I was thinking about Matondo is I think we'll be hitting them on the break quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because I think we're not going to be parked super deep, but they're going to have a hell of a lot of the ball.
Yeah.
And they're going to be playing that high Spanish line, aren't they? So
Mm-hmm.
I think getting the ball to Matondo, just as you say, because he's lightning quick, it might be better to bring McCausland on later on in the game. But look, I think it's two good options we've got.
I think even you're talking about that, we could be on the counter. The front three of Matondo, Sima, and McCausland. If you want pace in your team, that's a good thing to do because I think Sima on full charge as well, full pelt. He's a fast guy. He can really get
Rapid.
up to speed, and I think McCausland's not a slouch either. So that could also be an option. It'd be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how Clement approaches this because I think his starting 11 will kind of tell me everything about what he believes we're going to manage in the game and what he because if I see Lammers, mate, I'm telling you, I'm not going to be
I was
happy.
hoping you weren't going to bring him up tonight, but it's only been the one time you brought him up on the pod tonight, so that's all right.
Yeah, as we've finished anyway. So yeah,
Aye.
so but no, it's an interesting game. But I'm up for it, of course. It's a big as a European game as we've had so far in this Europa League. It's a big game, and I'm very much looking forward to it. What is your score prediction, mate?
I'm going to go 2-2. I'm going to go 2-2.
Being honest,
I'm going to go a Desers masterclass on Thursday as well. That's me hoping for a Desers masterclass. But am I right in thinking that that goes head to heads in with Betis? Because obviously we beat them at home.
Yeah, but if I think that gets us on to 9 points, and
they're on.
if Sparta Prague win, then we go to the Conference League. I think we have to win.
We need to win. We need to win on Thursday.
Unless Limassol and Sparta Prague draw. If it's 2 draws, then everything stays the same, obviously. Or if Limassol win, then everything stays the same. So obviously we need Limassol to do us a favour against Prague, which would be quite nice of them, considering they've upset us twice.
I should have really done my homework a wee bit better. You can definitely tell I'm wanting to just win on Sunday, can't you?
Yes, sure. We both do, mate. We both very much do. A 2 each point, not far wrong. I'm going to go a wee bit more staunch, mate, and I'll go 2-1 to Rangers, and
Excellent.
I'll go Sima to continue his scoring run and to score the first goal. I think it's going to be a bit of a it depends how much the team are up for it again, though, as well. I don't want to see them with their heads down, thinking that they've got it all to do. I want them to go out and seize the opportunity. I think that's really more what it's all about. To go out and do your best, leave everything out there. If you leave everything out there and we don't come up trumps, then we can all accept that. I've always said 100%. That, but don't go out on a whimper, is what I'm saying. Jamie, for tonight, mate, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, mate. See you soon.
Yeah, see you soon, mate. So, we'll be back on Thursday night with a reaction after hopefully your team wins and we are through the next round of the Europa League. If you could like the video, subscribe to the channel, all the usual stuff, that would be magic. And I will speak to you on Thursday. We are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. Cheers, everyone.